I moved to Minnesota last year in the month of January. And that's how you die. 8-month winters are brutal. God. When I hit my 1-year mark of living there, some of my friends were like, "Oh, how did you celebrate?" I was like, "Oh, I just walked into my bathroom like it was a prison cell and etched one tally." I did learn a lot by moving there then. I learned that God forbid you try using a bidet there in the winter. That water feels like local anesthesia. Did not feel my beehole for 5 months. It's such a weird state. Right when I moved there, I turned on the TV and there were commercials for vacations to Alaska. And that's when I knew I fucked up. I was like, oh, these are broken people. If Alaska is their Cancun. Living in Minnesota and going on vacation to Alaska is like owning a Nissan Sentra and going on vacation and renting a Nissan Sentra. That's the same terrible. Minnesota was a tough sell, though. I found out also when I got there that they have some of the highest state taxes. I was like, for why? You're cold and expensive? That's like a dog who's ugly and bites. Put it down. Let's get out of here. Skedaddle. And I moved there from Washington where there are no state taxes. So now anytime my boyfriend tries to start a fight with me, I'm like, oh, let me remind you that being your girlfriend now costs me $38 a day. Let me set the thermostat to 72. Off. Let's pick our battles today. When he and I got together, we had that conversation about labels because I felt ready to be called boyfriend and girlfriend, and he goes, being in my 40s, I feel like I'm a little old to be called somebody's boyfriend, but if you call me your man friend, it sounds like I'm not allowed in your playgrounds. I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna call me? And he goes, I'll just be like, this is my lady. And I was like, well, we're not at a Renaissance fair. So no. Also, I can't use the equivalent of that. I can't be like, Mom, Dad, I'd like you to meet my lord. And he's also a comedian. My ex-husband was actually a comedian too. I can't stop where I eat. No, I didn't tell you. My love life is a Chipotle. Just keep the eating and all under one roof. It's very convenient, very farm to table, you know. They're right there. And I wasn't much of a jealous girlfriend in my 20s, but then some switch flipped in my 30s. And now when I see somebody hit on the person I'm with, I just feel myself anamorph into the cast of Jersey Shore. I am ready to brawl. And he does get hit on. When he walks on stage, women whistle at him. And at comedy clubs, there's usually a security guard in the back to kick people out in case they heckle. So at his shows, I've just started to stand next to the security guard. And if I see a woman laughing too hard at one of his jokes, I just walk up and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. He's my favorite comedian. Well, he's my lord. Scoot, beat it. I feel like most people assume I'm exaggerating during that joke, but if you follow me online, you'll know I posted a video a few months ago of a woman who sat in the front row of one of my shows, and after I told that joke, she goes, your boyfriend is my favorite comedian. We've seen him like 8 times. And I was like, lady, did you not just hear that this is when I go snooky on somebody? What are you doing? And she doubled down. She's like, he's so cute. He's so hot. And he responds to my Instagram comments. And that's when I took out my hoop earrings. All the men in the crowd were looking around like, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. It's like, yeah, time to fuck around and find out, madam. Get up here. I don't actually worry about my boyfriend cheating on me. I feel like men's bodies start to really turn on them in their 40s. He has to wake up every 2 hours in the night to pee. And when I see him in the morning with bags under his eyes, I hug him and I go, babe, I'm sorry you didn't sleep well. And then I think, you're too exhausted to cheat on me. You're not getting enough REM to pull off 2 relationships. I like you slow like this. Can catch you if I need to. Get back here. But now the second I see him start to reach for melatonin, I'm like, the f*** are you resting up for? Huh? You stay sleepy. I don't usually mind our age gap, but there is that new filter on TikTok where couples are posting pictures together, and then a filter goes across the screen, and it shows you what you'll look like together in 50 years. Like it ages you. So I did that with a picture of me and my boyfriend, and when the filter went across the screen, it just made him disappear. It was just me holding an urn. I was like, what? No, please. And my boyfriend was like, I want to see the picture. I was like, oh, my phone died. And so did you. What am I going to do? He does hate that he looks older than me. He's been trying to get me to look older faster. I think he wants to, like, microwave my face. On my birthday, as a prank, he hid all of my expensive skin creams, and when I opened my bathroom cupboard, there was just a pack of cigarettes. A tanning bed coupon. Well, be careful what you wish for. You're gonna wake up next to Mick Jagger. I have been telling my single friends that they should date somebody older than them. It's the best. They got their lives together. They're financially secure. My boyfriend has a lake cabin. You think I give a shit that he has a fake hip? I don't. I'm very happy to be living with Chad. I lived alone for a few years after the divorce. I feel like if you live alone for too long, you start to become feral. Make some noise if you live alone right now. All right, so that's 12 people who showered for the first time tonight. Good for you. I am honored to be the reason you would bathe and leave your home. Because you don't have to do anything when you live alone. There's nobody around to judge you, and you start to act like you were raised by wolves, right? I watched myself do something so unhinged at one point. I don't know if you guys have it in your shower, where if the water's been hitting the shower curtain for a long time, it starts to get kind of discolored at the bottom. I tried cleaning it, it wouldn't come off, and instead of just going and buying a new shower curtain like a normal person, I just sat in my bathtub with scissors and I just cut the bottom. I just went full meth head. I was just like, ay. Arts and crafts, arts and crafts. I literally gave my shower bangs. It's not a mentally stable place to be in. And then, of course, it really looked like it. So I went to Target, and they had just released fall candles. And I learned that day that if you smell candles for 30 minutes straight, you will accidentally get a little high. Nothing crazy, but I'm a lightweight, and nobody in the DARE program talked to me about candles. So I was unprepared for what happened to my body. So I was floating around Target. I grabbed the shower curtain I wanted, and when I went home and hung it up, it only stretched like half the length of my shower, And it was so long, 5 extra feet of fabric coming off the bottom of this thing. And my stepsister came over the next day, and she used my bathroom, and she came out and she goes, "Why do you have a window curtain in there?" I was like, "What now?" She goes, "That's a window curtain. You didn't think it was weird that when you hung it up, there was an entire Met Gala ball gown coming off of it?" I was like, "I accidentally got hooked up on pumpkin spice and I blacked out. I don't want to talk about it. But it's fine. I can fix this." And I grabbed my scissors and I just cut the bottom. So something I've learned is that a lot of people don't realize that comedians know how to not be comedians off stage. Like, some people just think we're always set to clown mode or something. Because a few years ago, my mom got sick and she was in the hospital for part of the time. And 3 weeks in, her doctor turns to me and goes, "So I heard you're a comedian." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." He goes, "Oh, just surprises me because I don't really get a funny vibe from you." And I was like, "Well, my mom's still in the hospital after 3 weeks, so I'm not really getting a great doctor vibe." I can be petty off the clock too, bitch. I will do it for free. Also, what does a funny vibe look like to this guy? We're in a hospital. You think I'm gonna walk through the waiting room honking boobs like, hee 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 hee? It's like, people are bleeding out. You gotta clock out sometimes. But here's the thing. When my mom was in the hospital, she ended up getting diagnosed with dementia, which has, of course, been the most heartbreaking thing to go through. But she is so smart and so funny that even with dementia, she's still pretty crafty, like still tries to prank people. So she and my brother were talking. He thought it was going well. And then all of a sudden, she just starts shouting, "Nurse! Nurse!" And my brother's like, "Oh my God, Mom, I'm right here. What do you need?" The nurses come running in. They're like, "Kathy, oh my God, what's going on?" And my mom just goes, "Look how handsome my son is." I'm like, "Are you out of your f***ing mind? You cannot be the mom who cried hot son. You're gonna get kicked out of the home." Because now I feel like next time she actually needs help, the nurse is just gonna pop her head around from 50 feet away and be like, "Oh, let me guess, Kathy, is your daughter funny? Is that what you're screaming at us for?" It'd be so great if she was like, "She's okay." Not really get a funny vibe from her. Just want some apple juice. And this is strange, but my entire family and I, including my mom, are actually world champion foosball players. Yeah, thank you. And my mom is in the Foosball Hall of Fame. Yeah. But every time my mom gets a new nurse, the nurse will always ask her about her life. And my mom always goes, "Well, I'm in the Foosball Hall of Fame." And every nurse goes, "Sure you are." Mm-hmm. And I'm always standing there like, "Oh, yeah, no, I know that sounds made up, but I swear it's real." And the nurse is like, "Hey, you don't have to." And I'm like, "Lady, I swear to God, I can show you her trophies, I can show you a video of her playing." And that's when the nurse starts to look at the other nurses like, "Oh, does the daughter have dementia too?" It's like a T-Mobile family plan of dementia. It's like too weird to believe. And my mom growing up was also somebody you did not want to cross. My parents got divorced in the 90s, back when there were home phone answering machines. And before the divorce, our answering machine message was my dad saying, "You've reached the Cooks, please leave us a message." And then after the divorce, my mom had changed it to her just blasting Alanis Morissette's "You Oughta Know." So every time my dad would call, my mom would let it go to the machine so that if he wanted to leave a message for her every time, he first had to sit through the lyrics, and I'm here to remind you of the mess you left when you went away. I mean, that's a bad move right there. That takes balls. Because it's not like that was just the message for when my dad called. That was the message for literally anybody who called our house. So after a while, we started to get messages from people like, hey, this is Dave from Blockbuster. And I'm here to remind you. Your Space Jam VHS is overdue. Really sorry about whatever you're going through. And long before my mom had dementia, she had retired from teaching, and she had taken on some interesting retirement hobbies. She had started to screenshot the selfies I would post on Instagram, and then she would print them out and go to Kohl's and buy those 30 photo collage frames and frame my selfies. But I didn't know she was doing this until I visited home one day and I just walked into a museum. Of my narcissism. And my mom crept up behind me. She was like, do you love it? What is this, a haunted house? This is horrifying. I'll never take a selfie again. This is like an intervention. But here's the thing. Nobody had taught my mom how to crop a screenshot. So all of these printed, framed photos show her phone battery percentage. If somebody texted her as she took the screenshot, it's up there. There's a framed photo somewhere of my face with a text from my ex to my mom like, your daughter just in a box. Please advise.